My hands trembled as I stared at the black cars, 7 of them, forming a perfect semicircle around my modest townhouse in South Philadelphia. Men in dark suits stood beside each vehicle, hands folded, waiting. Not threatening. Just, waiting. For me. 24 hours earlier, I was nobody. Marcus Chen, 32 years old, assistant manager at Morrison & Blake Consulting, making $68,000 a year in one of the most expensive cities in America. Living paycheck to paycheck despite what my business school classmates would call a decent salary. Supporting my younger sister Emma through college because our parents died when I was 23, leaving me to raise a 15-year-old girl alone. Nobody knew that story. At work, I was just Marcus. Quiet. Competent. Invisible. The guy who fixed everyone else's spreadsheets at 9 p.m. while they went home to their families. The guy whose ideas got presented by his boss Jonathan, who took all the credit. The guy who hadn't had a vacation in 4 years because Emma needed books, supplies, a laptop, summer programs to stay competitive. I'd learned to be small. To not take up space. To survive. But that was before I found her in the alley behind Chen's grocery, no relation, though Mrs. Chen who owned it always joked we must be cousins. Before I made the decision that changed everything. Let me take you back to Friday night, October 13th. I remember the date because my sister had just texted me, Marcus, I got the internship. The one at the architecture firm. They want me this summer. I was walking home from a late shift at the office, nearly 11 p.m., exhausted, my cheap dress shoes worn through at the heel. I'd stayed late fixing Jonathan's presentation for the Hendricks account because he'd screwed up the financial projections. Again. He'd present it Monday and probably get that promotion we'd both been up for. I already knew I wouldn't get it. Guys like me never did. I cut through the alley to save 5 minutes. That's when I heard it. A sound between a gasp and a whisper. Pain. Someone in serious pain. Every instinct screamed, keep walking. This is Philadelphia. Mind your business. Don't get involved. You have Emma to think about. But my father's voice echoed in my head. The last thing he said before the accident, Marcus, always do the right thing. Even when it costs you. Especially when it costs you. I turned toward the sound. She was crumpled against the brick wall, half hidden by a dumpster. Mid-30s, olive skin, wearing an expensive charcoal pantsuit that was now torn and blood-soaked. Dark hair matted with blood. Her left hand pressed against her side where crimson was seeping through her fingers. Oh my God. I'm calling 911. I reached for my phone. No. Her voice was sharp, commanding despite the obvious agony. Her accent was. I couldn't place it. European, maybe Middle Eastern. No hospitals. No police. You're bleeding. You need help. Her eyes met mine, intense, dark brown, calculating even through the pain. She was assessing me. Deciding something. Can you help me stand? This was insane. Every rational part of my brain was screaming danger. But she was hurt. Bleeding. And something in her eyes, she wasn't a criminal. I'd worked in corporate consulting long enough to read people. This woman was scared but not dangerous. At least not to me. I helped her up. She was maybe 5 feet 6 inches, lean, and she hissed in pain as she straightened. The wound in her side looked like a knife wound. Clean. Deliberate. Where do you live? She asked. I can't take you to my house. I have a sister, I won't hurt her. Please. She swayed and I caught her. I just need a few hours. To make a call. Then I'll be gone. Like I was never there. Against every ounce of common sense, I said, okay. I half-carried her the 3 blocks to my townhouse. Thank God Emma was at her friend Keisha's place for the night, studying for midterms. The house was dark, quiet. I got the woman inside, settled her on the couch, grabbed my first aid kit, the big one I'd bought after Emma sliced her hand cooking 2 years ago. "I'm Marcus," I said, cleaning the wound as best I could. It was deep but not critical. She'd been lucky. Or skilled enough to avoid vital organs. "Adriana," she said after a long pause. Like she was deciding whether to give her real name. "Thank you, Marcus. You don't know what this means. Who did this to you? People who want something I have. Information. They thought violence would make me talk." Her jaw tightened. They were wrong. I bandaged the wound, gave her water, ibuprofen, a clean shirt from my closet. She made a phone call in a language I didn't recognize, rapid, intense, full of words that sounded like commands. When she hung up, she looked at me differently. "You live alone?" "With my sister. She's 19. In college. I'm putting her through." "Parents?" "Dead. Car accident 9 years ago." Something shifted in her expression. "Respect, maybe. Or recognition. You're a good man, Marcus Chen. How old are you?" 32. "You seem older. Tired. Like you carry weight that isn't yours." I laughed bitterly. That's a pretty accurate assessment from someone I just met in an alley. I'm good at reading people. It's kept me alive. She stood, wincing. "My team will be here in an hour. I'll be gone. You'll never see me again." "Okay. Marcus." She pulled a business card from her jacket pocket. Expensive paper, embossed lettering. Just a name, Adriana Constantinescu, and a phone number. "If you ever need anything. Anything at all. Call this number." "I'm not going to call." "You might. The world is strange that way." She smiled slightly. "You saved my life tonight. I don't forget debts." An hour later, 2 SUVs pulled up. 4 men in suits, professional, armed. They collected Adriana like she was precious cargo. She gave me one last look through the window. "Remember, Marcus. Anything." Then she was gone. I cleaned the blood from my couch, threw away the bandages, and tried to convince myself this had been real. By morning, I'd almost succeeded in filing it away as one weird night in a weird city. I was wrong. Saturday afternoon, Emma came home, bubbling with excitement about her internship. We celebrated with cheap pizza and soda because that's what our budget allowed. She talked about her dreams, becoming an architect, designing sustainable housing, changing the world. I smiled and listened and felt that familiar weight. The weight of being responsible for someone else's dreams. Don't get me wrong, I loved Emma. She was the only family I had. But sometimes, late at night, I wondered what my life would have looked like if I'd gotten to be young. If I'd gotten to take risks. Travel. Date. Build something for myself. Instead, I was Marcus Chen, assistant manager, invisible man, barely treading water. That night, I fell asleep exhausted. Sunday morning, I woke to Emma's voice, high-pitched with panic. "Marcus. Marcus, you need to see this." I stumbled downstairs in my t-shirt and sweatpants. Emma was standing at the front window, phone in hand, filming. "What's wrong?" "Look outside." I looked. 7 black cars. Mercedes, BMWs, 1 Bentley. Arranged in a perfect semicircle. Men in suits standing at attention. Neighbors were on their porches, phones out, recording. Mrs. Johnson from next door looked terrified. What the hell? I moved toward the door. "Marcus, don't." Emma grabbed my arm. "What if they're dangerous? Should I call the police?" Before I could answer, one of the men approached. Tall, broad-shouldered, maybe 50, with gray at his temples and a face like carved stone. He knocked. 3 precise raps. I opened the door a crack. Marcus Chen. His accent was thick, Eastern European. Yes. My name is Dominic Volkov. I work for Miss Constantinescu. She requests your presence. Today. Now. I don't understand. You helped her Friday night. She wishes to thank you properly. That's not necessary. I'm glad she's okay, but, Mr. Chen. Dominic's voice dropped. This is not a request. Miss Constantinescu does not leave debts unpaid. Please. Get dressed. We will wait. The way he said it, polite but immovable, made it clear I didn't have a choice. Emma was pale. Marcus, what's going on? Who's Miss Constantinescu? I helped someone the other night. It's fine. I'll be back soon. I'm coming with you. No. I said it firmly. Stay here. If I'm not back in 2 hours, call the police. Call everyone. I threw on jeans and a button-down shirt, grabbed my phone, and walked outside. Every neighbor on the block was watching. Great. This would be all over the neighborhood Facebook group within an hour. Dominic opened the door to the Bentley. Please. The interior smelled like leather and money. Dominic sat across from me. The driver pulled away smoothly. Where are we going? I asked. Miss Constantinescu's residence. 30 minutes. And if I'd refused to come? Dominic smiled slightly. You did not refuse. We drove through Philadelphia, out of my working-class neighborhood, through Center City, into the suburbs, and finally onto a private road that led to an estate. Not a house. An estate. Stone walls, iron gates, manicured grounds that stretched for what looked like acres. My stomach twisted. Who the hell had I helped? The car stopped in front of a mansion, 3 stories, European architecture, probably worth $30 million. Maybe more. Dominic led me inside. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork I recognized from my one art history class in college. A Monet. An actual Monet on the wall like it was nothing. We entered a study. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens. A massive desk. And behind it, Adriana Constantinescu. She looked completely different. Hair pulled back, wearing a cream silk blouse, minimal makeup. The wound I'd bandaged was hidden, but I could see she moved carefully. Marcus. She smiled. Thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? No. She gestured to a chair. Sit. Please. I sat. You're wondering who I am. What this is about. Why I brought you here. The thought crossed my mind. She poured 2 glasses of whiskey from a crystal decanter. Slid one across the desk to me. I didn't drink it. My family controls significant business interests across Eastern Europe and North America. Imports, exports, real estate, technology, security. We are very wealthy. Very powerful. And we have enemies. Friday night was an assassination attempt. The 3rd in 2 months. We've been tracking who's behind them. Getting close. They're getting desperate. Why are you telling me this? Because you saved my life. And because I pay my debts. She opened a folder on her desk. Marcus Chen. 32. Graduated University of Pennsylvania, business degree, honors. Assistant manager at Morrison & Blake Consulting for 6 years. Salary $68,000. Debt, $14,000 in student loans, $8,000 in credit card debt from supporting your sister Emma through college. You've been passed over for promotion 3 times. Your boss Jonathan Mitchell takes credit for your work. You haven't had a vacation since your sister graduated high school. My blood ran cold. How do you know all that? I know everything about people who enter my life. It's how I stay alive. She leaned forward. You're talented, Marcus. Your financial models are brilliant. Your strategy presentations, the ones Jonathan steals, are innovative. But you're invisible. You've made yourself small to survive. To take care of your sister. That's admirable. But it's also a waste. I stood up. Look, I appreciate the whiskey and the research, but I should go. I want to offer you a job. I froze. Chief Financial Strategist for Constantinescu Enterprises. Salary, $350,000 per year. Full benefits. Housing stipend. Relocation assistance if you want it, though we have offices in Philadelphia. Your sister's tuition, completely covered. Any school, any program. Plus a $50,000 signing bonus to clear your debts. The room spun. I sat back down. Why? My voice came out hoarse. Because you're good. Because I need someone I can trust. And because you did the right thing when it cost you. You stopped in that alley. You helped a bleeding stranger. You asked for nothing in return. That's rare, Marcus. In my world, everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. But you just wanted to help. I'm not. I don't know anything about your world. International business, security, you'll learn. I have the best teachers. But more importantly, you already have what can't be taught, integrity. Intelligence. Courage. She paused. And you're tired of being invisible. I can see it in your eyes. She could. God, she could. This is insane. Is it? You've spent 9 years putting your life on hold for your sister. That's noble. But Emma is 19 now. An adult. Capable. And you? Marcus, when was the last time you did something for yourself? I couldn't answer because I couldn't remember. I need an answer by Monday morning, Adriana said. Dominic will give you my private number. Think about it. Talk to your sister. But Marcus, this opportunity won't come again. If I say no, then I'll thank you again for saving my life and we'll never meet again. You'll go back to Morrison and Blake. Jonathan will get your promotion. And in 5 years you'll still be wondering what if. She stood, extended her hand. I shook it. Her grip was firm, her eyes intense. I hope you say yes, Marcus. I think we could do great things together. Dominic drove me home in silence. The black cars were gone by the time we arrived. Just a normal Sunday afternoon. Except nothing was normal anymore. Emma was waiting inside, practically jumping with anxiety. What happened? Who is she? Are you okay? I told her everything. Well, almost everything. I left out the assassination attempt. Just said Adriana was a businesswoman I'd helped. When I got to the job offer, Emma's eyes went wide. $350,000. Marcus, that's life-changing. It's also too good to be true. There has to be a catch. Or maybe there's not. Maybe you finally caught a break. She grabbed my hands. Marcus, you've given up everything for me. Your 20s. Your freedom. Your dreams. If this woman is offering you a chance to actually build something for yourself, take it. But what if it's dangerous? What if it's exactly what you need? Marcus, I'm not a kid anymore. I can take care of myself. You don't have to sacrifice your life for mine anymore. I lay awake all night. Staring at the ceiling. Thinking about the last 9 years. The exhaustion. The invisibility. The slow erosion of my own dreams. By morning, I'd made my decision. Monday, 8 a.m., I called Adriana's number. "This is Marcus Chen." "My answer is yes." "Good," she said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "Dominic will pick you up at noon. Bring your sister. I want to meet her." "Why?" "Because family is important, Marcus. And if you're going to work for me, your family becomes my responsibility too." At noon, the Bentley returned. Emma and I climbed in, both nervous. She was wearing her best dress, I was in my only good suit. The drive to the estate felt different this time. Not terrifying. Just surreal. Adriana met us at the door. She shook Emma's hand warmly. "Emma. Your brother speaks very highly of you. Architecture, correct?" "Yes, ma'am. I'm hoping to specialize in sustainable design." "Excellent. We're building a new office complex in Center City. Green certified, innovative design. Perhaps you'd like to intern with our architecture team next summer instead of that other firm." Emma's jaw dropped. I don't know what to say." "Say yes." Adriana smiled. "Now, let's discuss Marcus's role." We spent 3 hours in her study. Adriana laid out her business empire, legitimate holdings, mostly, though she didn't pretend some of her family's wealth hadn't come from gray areas decades ago. "We've gone clean," she said. "But our enemies haven't. That's why I need someone smart, ethical, and brave. Someone who can help me build something that lasts. Something good." She showed me spreadsheets, strategies, opportunities. I found myself leaning forward, excited, engaged in a way I hadn't felt in years. This was real work. Important work. Not fixing Jonathan's mistakes at 9 p.m. Not being invisible. "I want you to start Wednesday," Adriana said. "Take tomorrow to give notice at Morrison and Blake. I'll have Dominic help you move anything you need from your office." "What should I tell Jonathan?" "The truth. You got a better offer." She smiled slightly. "I'm sure he'll understand." Tuesday morning, I walked into Morrison and Blake at 8:30 a.m. Jonathan was in his office, reviewing the Hendrix presentation. The one I'd fixed Friday night. I knocked. "Marcus. Good, you're here. I need you to pull together the Rodriguez proposal. Client meetings Thursday." "I can't. I'm giving my notice." He looked up, surprised. "Notice? You're quitting?" "I got another offer. I start Wednesday." "Another offer?" He laughed. "Marcus, come on. Nobody's going to pay you more than we do. You're good, but you're not that good." Something in me snapped. 9 years of swallowing my pride. Of watching him take credit. Of being invisible. "Actually, Jonathan, the offer is $350,000 a year. Chief Financial Strategist. At a company that values my work." His face went white. Then red. "That's, what company?" "Constantinescu Enterprises." I watched him Google it in real time. Watched his expression change from disbelief to shock to something like fear. "You're working for Adriana Constantinescu?" "I am." "Jesus Christ, Marcus. Do you know who she is?" "What her family, I know exactly who she is. She's the woman who recognized my talent. Unlike some people." I walked out of his office. Cleaned out my desk. Said goodbye to the 2 coworkers who'd actually been kind over the years. By 10 a.m., I was done. My phone buzzed as I reached the street. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "Morrison and Blake just called. Wanted to verify your employment with us. I told them you were our new chief financial strategist. They seemed concerned." "Well done. I smiled. Wednesday, my first day, started at 8 a.m. in a corner office with a view of the Philadelphia skyline. My own office. With my name on the door. The team Adriana had assembled was brilliant. Financial analysts, strategists, lawyers, all top tier. And I was leading them. Marcus, Adriana said during our first strategy meeting, what's your assessment of the Krasnov situation? The Krasnov situation was a hostile takeover attempt by a Russian oligarch trying to acquire Constantinescu shipping assets at 40% below market value. I'd spent all night reviewing the files. He's leveraged to the breaking point, I said. 3 major loans coming due in the next 6 months. If we can delay the acquisition talks, he'll be forced to liquidate other assets. Then we counteroffer. Not for his shipping company. For his port facilities in Gdansk. He'll have to accept or default. The room went quiet. Adriana smiled. Exactly. Well done. Make it happen. That was week 1. By month 2, I'd restructured 3 divisions, identified $40 million in cost savings, and helped close 2 major acquisitions. Adriana trusted me. Gave me authority. Listened to my ideas. I wasn't invisible anymore. Emma visited the estate on weekends. She and Adriana talked architecture, sustainability, design philosophy. Adriana introduced her to her lead architect. Emma was glowing. Marcus, she said one Sunday over lunch in Adriana's garden, this is the best thing that's ever happened to us. Maybe it was. But there was one problem I hadn't anticipated. I was starting to care about Adriana Constantinescu. Not just as a boss. As a person. She was brilliant, funny, fierce. She told stories about growing up in Romania, her father's business, the struggles of building an empire while staying ethical. She asked about my parents, really listened when I talked about losing them. Sometimes I'd catch her watching me during meetings with an expression I couldn't read. One night, 3 months in, we were working late in her study. Financial reports spread across the desk, half-empty glasses of wine forgotten. Marcus, she said suddenly. Why did you help me that night? Really? I told you. It was the right thing, no. There's more. You risked everything. Your safety. Your sister's security. For a stranger bleeding in an alley. Why? I set down my pen. Thought about it. Because I know what it's like to need help and not get it. When my parents died, I was 23. Emma was 15. Nobody helped us. Not family. Not friends. Not the system. We survived because I figured it out. But it was hard. So hard. And I swore if I ever had the chance to help someone who needed it, I would. Because I remembered how alone we felt. Adriana was quiet for a long moment. You're a good man, Marcus Chen. You said that the first night. I'm saying it again. She stood, walked around the desk, sat on the edge right in front of me. I need to tell you something. My heart started racing. That night in the alley. I was testing you. What? I wasn't alone. Dominic and 2 others were watching from a car. If you'd walked past, we'd have known. If you'd called the police, we'd have known. I needed to see what kind of man you are. You set me up. I needed someone I could trust absolutely. Someone with integrity I could verify. Yes, I was wounded. Yes, I was in danger. But I also had backup. And I had a choice about who found me. She leaned forward. I chose you, Marcus. I stood up, angry now. So this whole thing. The job offer. Everything. It was just, real. All of it was real. The job offer is real. Your value to me is real. But yes, I needed to know you were who I thought you were. And you are. That's manipulative. It's careful. It's survival. In my world, Marcus, trust is everything. I couldn't just hope you were good. I had to know. I should have been furious. Should have walked out. Instead, I asked, and now? Do you trust me now? With my life, she said softly. The air between us was electric. Charged. Dangerous. Adriana. I know. This is complicated. You work for me. It's inappropriate. But I need you to know, what I feel for you isn't about business. It's not about debt. It's about you. Who you are. How you think. The way you've transformed my company in 3 months. The way you make me laugh. The way you look at me like I'm not just a weapon or an asset but a person. My breath caught. I can't afford to lose this job. Emma's future, you won't. Regardless of what happens between us, your position is secure. Your sister's tuition is secure. I promise you that. She reached up, cupped my face with her hand. I'm not your boss right now, Marcus. Right now, I'm just a woman who can't stop thinking about the man who saved her life. I kissed her. I couldn't help it. Everything I'd held back for 3 months, the attraction, the connection, the impossible feelings, all of it came crashing through. She kissed me back like she'd been waiting for it. Her hands in my hair, my arms around her waist, careful of her healing wound. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, she smiled. I've wanted to do that since you bandaged me in your living room. I've wanted to do that since you offered me this job. So what do we do now? I thought about it. About Emma, safe and thriving. About my career, finally real. About this woman who'd seen something in me when I was invisible. Now, I said, we figure it out. Together. 1 year later, I stood in the ballroom of the Constantinescu estate. Black tie event. Major donors, business partners, politicians. The kind of event I'd have catered as a struggling college kid, not attended as a guest. Emma was there in a designer dress Adriana had insisted on buying her. She'd just been accepted to a prestigious architecture graduate program. Full scholarship plus stipend. Her dream was coming true. Adriana stood beside me, her hand in mine. We'd kept our relationship quiet at first, but eventually, it became impossible to hide. Her team accepted it. Respected it, even. I'd proven myself on merit long before anyone knew we were together. Marcus. Adriana squeezed my hand. I have something to tell you. Good or bad? Good. Very good. She smiled. The board voted this morning. They want to make you COO. Chief Operating Officer. Second in command after me. I stared at her. Are you serious? Your strategies have grown our revenue 40% in 12 months. You've earned this. Emma appeared at my elbow, grinning. Did she tell you? You knew. She asked my opinion last week. I said you deserved it. Emma hugged me. Marcus, I'm so proud of you. I looked around the ballroom. At the life I'd built. The family I'd chosen. The woman I loved. The sister who was thriving. 2 years ago, I was invisible. Exhausted. Barely surviving. Now I was here. It wasn't luck. It was choice. The choice to stop in an alley. To help someone who needed it. To take a risk when opportunity knocked. Thank you, I said to Adriana. For what? For seeing me when I was invisible. She smiled, kissed my cheek. You were never invisible, Marcus. You were just waiting for someone to look. That night, after the gala ended, after Emma went home to her new apartment, the one we'd helped her get in a safe neighborhood near campus, Adriana and I stood on the balcony overlooking the estate grounds. "Marcus," she said quietly. "I need to tell you something else." "More good news?" "I hope so." She turned to face me. "I'm tired of being careful. Tired of keeping distance. I want you in my life. Fully. Completely. I want to build something with you. Not just a company. A future." My heart stopped. "Are you asking?" "I'm asking if you'd consider making this permanent." "Us." "This." She pulled a small box from her pocket. Inside was a ring. Platinum, simple, elegant. Perfect. "Adriana, I know it's fast. I know it's unconventional. But I've learned that life is short and chances are rare. You saved my life, Marcus. Now I want to spend it with you. So, what do you say?" I thought about the man I'd been 2 years ago. Invisible. Small. Surviving. I thought about the man I was now. Seen. Valued. Living. "Yes," I said. "Yes." She kissed me as the Philadelphia light sparkled below us. And I realized something I'd never let myself believe before: I deserved this. The happiness. The success. The love. The life. I deserved it not because I was lucky, but because I'd chosen to be brave. To help a stranger. To take a risk. To bet on myself when someone finally believed in me. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is play it safe. Sometimes you have to step into the unknown. And sometimes, gentlemen, sometimes the wounded stranger in the alley isn't just someone who needs your help. She's the person who's going to change your life forever. If this story reminded you that transformation is possible, that doing the right thing still matters, that being invisible isn't permanent, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because here's the truth they don't tell you: your value doesn't depend on being seen. It depends on seeing yourself. And once you do, once you truly understand your worth, the right people will find you. They always do. Emma got married 3 years later. I walked her down the aisle. Adriana was my date. The wedding was at the estate, 300 guests, everything Emma had ever dreamed of. During her speech, Emma said, "My brother gave up his youth to raise me. He sacrificed everything. But he also taught me something important: family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. Who stays. Who fights for you." She looked at me, tears in her eyes. Marcus showed up every single day. And when he needed someone to show up for him, Adriana did. So this day isn't just about me and James. It's about family. The one we're born with and the one we choose. Later, at the reception, Adriana whispered, "She's right, you know. About family. About showing up." I know. "Marcus, I need to tell you something. More good news. The best." She took my hand, placed it on her stomach. "We're going to be parents." The world stopped. Then restarted, brighter, fuller, more real than ever. "Are you sure?" 3 tests. "Very sure." I picked her up, spun her around, both of us laughing. Emma saw us and came running over, demanding to know what was happening. When we told her, she screamed with joy. My family. The one I'd built. The one I'd chosen. The one that chose me back. 9 months later, we had a daughter. Dark hair, Adriana's eyes, perfect. We named her Elena, after my mother. I held her in my arms at 3 a.m., feeding her a bottle while Adriana slept. And I thought about that night 5 years ago. The alley. The choice. The risk. If I'd kept walking, none of this would exist. Not the career, not the love, not this tiny human in my arms. "Elena," I whispered to my daughter, "I'm going to teach you something your grandfather taught me: always do the right thing. Even when it costs you. Especially when it costs you. Because sometimes, baby girl, sometimes that cost is actually an investment. In yourself. In others. In the future. She yawned and fell asleep against my chest. Through the window, I could see the Philadelphia skyline. The city where I'd been invisible. The city where I'd been seen. The city where I'd become myself. And I realized something, I wasn't Marcus Chen, the assistant manager who got ignored anymore. I was Marcus Chen, COO. Husband. Father. Brother. Man who did the right thing and got rewarded for it. But more than that, I was Marcus Chen, the man who learned that being invisible wasn't a permanent condition. It was just a chapter. And I got to write the rest of the story myself. So here's my final message to you, gentlemen: if you're invisible right now, if you're exhausted, if you're doing everything right and still coming up short, don't give up. Don't make yourself smaller. Don't accept invisibility as your fate. Because somewhere out there is an opportunity. A moment. A choice. A wounded stranger in an alley who needs exactly what you have to offer. And when that moment comes, when that choice appears, take it. Risk it. Bet on yourself. Your life can change in a single night. In a single choice. In a single act of courage. Mine did. And if mine could, yours can too. Until next time, this is Marcus Chen reminding you, you're not invisible. You're just waiting for your moment. And when it comes, be ready. Because the life you deserve is one brave choice away.